Greetings, Iain from RTO here. Welcome to Friday on the channel. A big day, three shows, and we're going to kick off today with a live album ranking as we do Fridays, and we're going to today look at one of the Beatles, and we're going to look at Sir Paul McCartney. I love Paul McCartney's live albums. Absolutely brilliant stuff. He's released 6 solos, and one with Wings, of course. So we're going to put them all together and just have a bit of love for Sir Paul McCartney. So, kicking us off, coming in at number 7. Now, this is a live album that was released in 1991, and it is called Unplugged, the official bootleg. He just finished his trip in the live Fantastic tour, and he took the opportunity to go into the MTV studios and do this acoustic show only. On here we have got Paul McCartney, acoustic guitars and vocals and drums, on Ain't No Sunshine. Linda McCartney plays the Indian harmonium, the percussion, harmony vocals on And I Love Her. Hamish Stewart, acoustic bass guitar and acoustic guitar and lead vocals on And I Love Her and Ain't No Sunshine. Robbie McIntosh, acoustic guitars and dobro and vocals and piano and Ain't No Sunshine. Paul Wicks on piano, keyboards, accordion, percussion, acoustic bass on Ain't No Sunshine, and Blair Cunningham plays the drums and percussion and vocals. First track on this is a Gene Vincent number. It's Be-Bop-A-Lula. Good little start. I Lost My Little Girl, which is a Paul McCartney song. Then we get a Beatles song, Here, There and Everywhere, which sounds really good. Then we get a track written by Bill Monroe called Blue Moon of Kentucky. We Can Work It Out, another Beatles song. San Francisco Bay Blues, which was written by Jesse Fuller. I've Just Seen a Face, another Beatles track, of course. Every Night When It Pours, She's a Woman. Then we get High Heel Sneakers, And I Love Her. That Would Be Something. And I Love Her on here is brilliant. Blackbird, fantastic. Ain't No Sunshine, what a version of that. Good Rockin' Tonight, Singing the Blues, and Junk. As you know, I'm not a great lover of these Unplugged albums, but this one, very good, because I've got I think a lot of these songs sound okay like this, because when some of the songs that Paul was involved with, this is how it started, on a guitar. So they've all worked out very well, and I enjoy this one, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, then coming in at number 6, this is from 1990. It's the first live album since 1976, and it is called Trippin' the Live Fantastic. It was also simultaneously released as an abridged form entitled Trippin' the Live Fantastic Highlights. So there's both covers, just the word highlights has been added. So performing on this album is Paul McCartney on the vocals, acoustic and electric guitars and piano and keyboards, Linda McCartney on keyboards and backing vocals, Hamish Stewart again on guitars and lead vocals on Ebony and Ivory, Robbie McIntosh on electric guitars, Paul Wickens on the keyboards and backing vocals, and we got Chris Whitten doing the drumming. This opens up with a little showtime, 38 seconds, and then it goes into a great track called Figure of 8, which is one of my favourite Paul McCartney songs. Then we dive into some Wings, we get a little bit of Jet, absolutely brilliant track. Then we get Rough Ride, another McCartney track, and then a great version of Got to Get You Into My Life. I don't like the studio version much, but the live version's got more oomph, as they say. Then we get Band on the Run, classic from Wings. Then we get Birthday. This, of course, great little song. And apparently this was actually released what would have been John's 50th birthday that year. So it was released on the 9th of October 1990. I know that because it's my birthday as well. I share my birthday with the great John Lennon, of course. Then we get Ebony and Ivory. Really good version. I mean, Hamish sings it really well, and I quite like that version. Better than the original, actually. We Got Married. Sounds really good on here. Inner Madness. Now, this is a sound check by McCartney and his touring band that was recorded in Birmingham. It's only a little snippet. Then we get Maybe I'm Amazed, which is, of course, off the very first solo album that Paul did. Really good version as well. And we get Long and Winding Road. Always sounds good. Cracking Up, which is a Bo Diddley song. Get a little bit of that before it goes into Fool on the Hill, which sounds really good on here. And we get Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Can't Buy Me Love, Matchbox, of course, recorded by the Beatles, but a Carl Perkins song. Then we got Put It There, and it comes the out, and in the middle of that it gets the outro of the Beatles' Hello Goodbye. Then we get another bit of a sound check, and the song is Together. And you think that's it? No, that's only disc 1. So disc 2 starts with Things We Said Today. Great track and a great version. Eleanor Rigby, brilliant. This one, another McCartney. My Brave Face, which was co-written with Declan McManus, but known to many as Elvis Costello. It's really good. Back in the USSR. Great stuff. I Saw Her Standing There, the classic from the first album. Then we have a bit of Eddie Cochran with a bit of 20 Flight Rock. A great version of Coming Up. I love that song. Then we get Sally, Let It Be, Ain't That a Shame, which is a Fats Domino number, and they do a great version of that. A little bit of Live and Let Die from the movie, of course. If I Were Upon the Stage, it's not too bad. Hey Jude, Yesterday, Get Back. Then we get the Abbey Road medley, Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, and the end. And then Don't Let the Sun Catch Me Crying. Can't fault this. Another great live album. Lots of good Beatles songs thrown in there. He does mix them up. A few Wings songs. Brilliant concert. So I should give that an RTO ranking of 8.8. Coming in at number 5 then. This is an album released in 2009. It was on CD and DVD. And it's Good Evening New York City. It was recorded at the New York City Field on the 17th, 18th and 21st of July 2009. One other thing, 180,000 tickets were sold within hours of the shows being announced. Pretty impressive, eh? So the band was Paul McCartney on lead vocals, bass guitar and mandolin and ukulele, Rusty Anderson on guitars and co-lead vocals on I've Got a Feeling, Brian Ray's on the bass, Paul Wickens as ever on the keyboards, drums are done by Abe Labril Jr. and guest vocals on I Saw Her Standing There and on piano, the one and only Mr. Billy Joel. This one opens up with Drive My Car. I love that song. Great little, and it's quite rocky on this. Then we get Jet, always a good song. Only Mamanel's Flaming Pie, which is a great track and it's a great live. Then another rendition of Got to Get You Into My Life. Let It Roll, Wings track, which has sort of got a little bit of Foxy Lady thrown in there, which is pretty good. Then we get Highway, The Long and Winding Road, My Love, that lovely song that he always sings with so much passion. Blackbird, Here Today, Dance Tonight, and Calico Skies. And then my favourite track on here is Mrs. Vanderbilt, which is one of the great tracks off Band on the Run, and it's done brilliantly live. We get Eleanor Rigby sing the changes, then we get Band on the Run, then we get another CD. CD2 starts off with the cracking Back in the USSR, then a brilliant version of I'm Down. Then we get Something, which Paul starts playing on the ukulele in the first bit. It's wonderful, and it's a nice tribute to George. Then the brilliant I've Got a Feeling, fantastic, but the best version is that one that was at Glastonbury, where they put John up on the screen and you could see that emotion from Paul. Paperback Writer, the dirty story of a dirty man. Then we get a bit of a day in the life with a little bit of Give Peace a Chance thrown in there as well, which works out well, really good. Then we get Let It Be, another raw ripping bit of Live and Let Die, Hey Jude, Day Tripper, Lady Madonna. And then Billy Joel comes on and they do a great version of I Saw Her Standing There. Then we get Yesterday, Helter Skelter, great track to do live, Get Back, and then we get the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band reprise. What a way to end the show. Again, some great tracks on here. Putting tracks on them that you don't normally get. You know, that's what I like about Paul. He doesn't stick with the same Beatles songs or the same Wings. He throws these tracks in, and which is brilliant. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. So coming in at number 4 then. Now this is an album that's got 2 titles. I think the European version is called Back in the US, and the American version is called Back on Tour. It's from 2002, and it was recorded between the 1st of April and the 18th of May 2002. And it's a new band that it put together, which was Rusty Anderson and Brian Ray on guitar, Abe Lebrel Jr. on the drums and keyboards. Paul Wickens is also back in there. Excuse me, I've got something in my shoe. Sorry about that, folks. So yeah, so a new band, and this is the sort of band that's still touring with him. So this one opens up with Hello Goodbye. Great little track to open the show with. Jet, always a favourite. All My Lovin', great to hear that live. Getting Better, Sgt. Pepper's, great having that. Then we get a great version of Coming Up. I love that track, really funky. Bit of Let It Roll from Band on the Run, Lonely Road, Driving Rain, great track. Your Loving Flame, a little bit of Blackbird, Every Night, then We Can Work It Out, Mother's Nature's Son, Vanilla Sky, Carry That Weight, Fool on the Hill, Here Today. Then we get Something, again brilliant, and that's only disc 1. Disc 2 kicks off with a bit of Eleanor Rigby. Then we go Here, There and Everywhere, and then straight into Band on the Run, Back in the USSR, I'm Amazed, a brilliant version of Sea Moon, love that track. My Love's on here, Can't Buy Me Love, Freedom, Live and Let Die, Let It Be, Hey Jude, The Long and Winding Road. Oh, great tracks. Lady Madonna, I Saw Her Standing There, Yesterday, and the reprise of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. The usual mix of solo Beatles and Wings, mixes it around as usual. Another great live album, lots of atmosphere. And I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 3, and a recording of a concert that was a secret performance at the Amoeba Music in Hollywood, California on the 2007, but released in 2019, and it's just called the Amoeba Gig. We got Paul McCartney, Rusty Anderson, Abe LaBelle Jr., Brian Ray, and on keyboards for this little concert was David Arch. Opens up with Don't Drive My Car, Only Mama Knows, Dance Tonight, See Moon. See Moon, The Long and Winding Road, I'll Follow the Sun, Calcio Skies, which is wonderful on here. That Was Me, Blackbird, Here Today, Back in the USSR. Then they do Nod Your Head, and you have the courage, I want you to nod your head. And obviously they did. House of Wax, which is pretty cool. I've Got a Feeling, brilliant version. Bit of Carl Perkins, Matchbox, then we get some Get Back. Then he starts doing Baby Face for a minute, which goes into Hey Jude, Let It Be, Lady Madonna, and we end up with I Saw Her Standing There. I think this is a great album. Small volume, intimate, secret. The people in there had a great time. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.3. Okay then, coming in at number 2. Released in 1993, Paulie's Live. Recorded all over the world, from New York to Melbourne. All great songs taken from various shows. So, the band was Paul McCartney, Linda McCartney, Hamish McStewart, Robbie McIntosh and Paul Wickens, and Blair Cunningham on the drums. This one opens up with Drive My Car, a little bit of Let It Roll, then we're Looking for Changes, Peace in the Neighbourhood, All My Loving, then it's Robbie's Bit, Thanks Chet, so a little bit of guitar stuff. Good Rockin' Tonight, great version of that. We Can Work It Out, Hope and Deliverance. Michelle, great version of that. Biker Like an Icon, Here, There and Everywhere, bit of My Love, and a great version of Magical Mystery Tour. Come On People, Lady Madonna pops up. Paperback Writer, Penny Lane, Live and Let Die, ending up with Kansas City. Just a fantastic album. Now, you wouldn't believe that it was recorded all over the world. In Kansas City, obviously, it was sung in Kansas City. Colorado, Georgia, Texas, Sydney. The sound is perfect. The continuity is brilliant. It was well put together, well produced and executed. So I shall give this an RTO ranking of 9.5. So my number 1. Okay, it's not a Paul McCartney live album. This Wings live album, of course. Released in 1976, recorded during the American leg of the Wings Over World Tour, and it's Wings Over America. Wings at the time was Paul McCartney, Linda McCartney, Denny Lane, Jimmy McCulloch, Joe English, and the horns on this tour were Tony Dorsey, Howie Casey, Steve Howard, and Theodus Richard. This show opens up with a little 3-song put together. Venus and Mars, Rock Show and Jet. Great start, great songs. Then probably the best version of Let Me Roll It. It's the definitive version of that song in my books. Then we get a great track off Venus and Mars, Spirits of an Ancient Egypt, the best version of this song. Then we have the Medicine Jar, written by Jimmy McCulloch, very heavy, much heavier than on Venus and Mars. Then probably the best live version of Maybe I'm Amazed from the first solo album. Call Me Back Again, great version, lots of tracks off Venus and Mars on this, because this is the album that he was promoting. Really good. Lady Madonna, really good version of this. We got a lovely little saxophone on this. Long and Winding Road, this is the best version of the song. Live and Let Die, the definitive version. The horns and the sax really give it that studio feel. Then we get Picasso's Last Words, Drink to Me. Love that little song. Then we do a little cover version of a Simon and Garfunkel song, Richard Corey. Blue Word from Band on the Run. I've Just Seen a Face, which is a really good version of the great Beatles song. Then we get Blackbird, which is beautifully performed here. Great version of Yesterday. You Gave Me the Answer. Again, Venus and Mars. Prefer this version. It's got a little bit more oomph. Magneto and Titanium Man. I was never really keen on the version on the album, but the live version, I love the song, but I thought the production on the album's not very good, but this is the best. Then we go to a little bit of Moody Blues, a bit of Go Now. It's a great song originally done by Bessie Banks, but obviously the Moody Blues and when Denny Lane was in the band, did this big hit, and it's a great version of it. Then we get My Love, probably the best version of that song, from Rose on Red Rose Highway. Listen to What the Man Said, great version, love that version. Then we get the brilliant Let Them In, which sounds absolutely brilliant live. A track that you wouldn't think that would be able to be done on stage, but no, this is Paul McCartney, of course. Of course it can be done on stage, and it's really good. Then we get a Denny Line song from one of his solo albums, and it's Time to Hide. It's a great track by Denny. Silly Love Songs, great version of that on there. Beware My Love, best version of this song from The Speed of Sound. Letting Go, heavier version on the Venus and Mars. Band on the Run, definitive version. Then the best version of Hi Hi Hi. The studio version is great, but the live version rocks. And then we end up with the last track is Solly. Now Solly, or Soily, is a B-side of Maybe I'm Amazed. It's great to hear this live, and it's a great way to end the album. This is truly a great live album, a mixture of some early McCartney solo stuff, lots of good stuff from the Beatles and Wings, of course. Some of the definitive song versions of the songs. I love this album to death, play it all the time. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 10 out of 10, and always will. So there we go, bit of Paul McCartney and Wings and Beatles songs all put in one place, which is brilliant. Love these albums, there's not a bad one amongst them. Okay, that's all for the live album ranking. I've got two new albums to review. We've got, first up is Def Leppard's Drastic Symphonies, and Graham Nash is Now. So join me for that later. Bye for now.